It was 1875. A group of people got together and determined that there was a need for a church, a need for a place where people could gather and worship God. Like most young churches, there were some challenges. Matter of fact, it was 2 years after the founding of the church that there was a division. Never want to talk about that stuff. There was a group that wanted to go with the Augustana Synod of the Lutheran Church, and there was a group that wanted to go with the Mission Friends. Needless to say, we're part of that group that survived that division. Yet a group, and there are people here today that are direct descendants of that original group in 1875. In 1882, the first confirmation class met. I don't think we have any pictures of that. And there's probably not any of you in that class that will be coming up. But the history of our confirmation classes is in the hallway. In 1920, 45 years after we started the church made a major change. One that I'm thankful for. I don't speak Swedish. We changed from Swedish to English. There, I throw something in there. When we hear of church plants that are speaking in languages from Asia and from South America, don't be too critical. It took us 45 years to get there. Let them worship the way that God calls them to worship. In the 20s, the gas lights in our church were replaced with electricity. In 1939, there was a group of people, Ladies' Aid, that said, we need to have a parsonage. So in 1939, they bought a parsonage here in town. Paid $3,000 for it. Wow. They had it paid off in 3 years. Amazing. 1960s was an amazing time for our little church in the country. We finally ended up with indoor bathrooms. Then in 1987, we broke ground where we sit today on our facility here in Sloan. In the history of our church, we have had 28 pastors. 5 pastors that served from out of town. Sioux City. And yes, Dad, even a couple that came up from Oakland, Nebraska. We've had 15 student pastors. For some of you thought Schumann was the first. We've had 15 student pastors in the history of our church. And we have had 8 permanent pastors. The longest, Brother Ed Moberg, who served 20 years and 6 months before his death in 1984. Looking at the history of this church, I am reminded of the quote from one of our founding fathers, John P. Johnson. He said it this way. In 1876, the Lord grant his peace over this little church, that what there is of the church may bear fruit. That is my desire today, as it was for Brother Johnson 140 years ago. May God be glorified in his church in Sloan.